My name's Carla, I'm 25. When I saw the two little lines on that test, I didn't cry. I laughed. Out of pure panic. Because not only was I pregnant with my boss's baby, I later found out I wasn't the only one. Before we dive into the drama, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell, okay? Because what I'm about to tell you, you're not gonna believe it. And trust me, there's so much more coming. But anyway, let me tell you about my full-on telenovela moment. When I started at that company, all I wanted was stability. A decent paycheck, a lunch card that actually worked, and peace. And then there he was. Renato. The boss. Respected. Married. He had that vibe, like a man who didn't need to prove anything to anyone. Crisp shirt, unforgettable cologne, eyes that looked straight through you. At first, he barely spoke to me. But when he did, he always found a way to compliment me. First, it was about my work. Then it was my voice. Until one day, he looked at me and said, "You're different." I didn't know what to say. I just gave a small smile, said thanks, and went back to my computer like nothing happened. But inside, my heart was racing. You know that feeling when someone sees you differently, and now you don't even know how to act around them? Yeah, that. I kept typing, trying to focus, but I could feel his eyes on me. Heavy. Intense. Like he was saying something, without saying it. Every now and then, I'd glance over. And yep, he was still looking. But he'd always look away when someone walked by. In that moment, I told myself, "You're overthinking. He's your boss. He's probably just lost in thought." But something had already shifted. The energy between us. It wasn't neutral anymore. It was electric. Strange. Almost dangerous. As the months went by, one evening after work, he came over to my desk, calm, casual, and asked, "Would you mind if I texted you?" I thought it was a little weird at first, but he was quick to explain. "Sometimes I'm driving and can't check my email. Texting is just easier, you know?" I paused for like half a second, then said sure. I mean, it was just for work. But yeah, it didn't stay just about work. At first, his messages were straight to the point. "Send me that report when you can. Can you move Friday's presentation up?" Totally normal. Professional. But then one morning, at 7 a.m., he texted, "Good morning. Looks like it's gonna rain today. Don't forget your umbrella." I thought it was sweet. Different from anything I was used to getting at 7 a.m. After that, the messages started coming before work. And after. Stuff like, "Did you get home okay? Is it cold over there? Did you eat dinner yet? And listen, I live alone." So I'll admit, at first, I thought it was kinda cute. I told myself, he's just being a thoughtful boss. Maybe even a friend. And I let it happen. I replied. I laughed. I reacted. And without realizing it, I started looking forward to his messages. And just like that, we started texting every single day. Without fail. "Good morning, good night, how was your day, what did you have for dinner? Don't forget your umbrella, text me when you get home." And I had got used to it. His presence became part of my routine. Part of the silence. Part of my loneliness. Until one day. Nothing. No message. No sign of him. I waited until dinner time. Then I sent just one text. "Everything okay?" The next day, he called me into his office. Door closed. His voice, cold. Firm. Almost harsh. "Don't ever text me again. Ever. If I talk to you, you answer. Otherwise, silence." Got it. I froze. It felt like an invisible wall had dropped between us. Then suddenly, he took a deep breath, stood up, and hugged me. Yes, he hugged me, tight, and said, "I'm sorry. I'm going through a divorce, and she's insane. Last night she saw your message pop up on my phone and completely lost it. You know how she is. When she has these breakdowns, she takes it out on my son." When he said that, my heart sank. A child in the middle of all this. A child getting hurt, emotionally, because I sent a simple, "Are you okay?" I felt bad. Truly. The kid didn't deserve any of it. And after all, we were just friends, right? I stayed silent for a few days. Thought about cutting things off. Keeping my distance to avoid any drama, especially at work. But then, he started texting me again. With emojis. With affection. With that tone that made me question what was right and what wasn't. The company trip changed everything. 2 days in Sao Paulo. Fancy hotel. Crowded conference room. Dry cake and awkward small talk during coffee breaks. I thought I'd go to bed early, sit through some talks, and come back with a bag full of useless freebies. But on day 1, his eyes were already saying something else. At the team dinner, he sat next to me and stayed close. You know that kind of closeness that doesn't touch you, but still gives you chills? The conversation was light. White wine. Soft laughs. But his eyes. They said everything his mouth couldn't. When we left, he leaned in slowly, casually, and said, "It's late, if you want, stop by my room. Just to talk. I promise." And I went. I thought we'd talk. That he'd vent about the divorce, life, whatever. But the door had barely closed. And he was already pulling me close. It was intense. Confusing. Heated. And wrong. But somehow, in that moment it felt right. Like the world outside had stopped. All that existed was that dark room, his cologne, and a silence filled with everything we weren't saying. After that, there was no going back. We returned like nothing had happened. But now, every email, every meeting, every accidental touch, carried something else. A memory. The texts became more frequent. But now, they were being deleted. Our meetups, more strategic. The looks lasted longer. We met in discreet places. Highway motels. Mall parking lots. The company's parking lot. Sometimes just to see each other. Sometimes for much more. It was a secret. Our secret. What I didn't know was that this secret was growing inside me. Literally. We were involved for 2 years. Between deleted messages and secret meetups, everything seemed to work. Inside the bubble. Inside the illusion. Until one day, I started feeling sick. I thought it was just stress. PMS. Bad eating habits. But my body was speaking. And I was pretending not to hear. By the 3rd month, my period was late. Not like the other times. This time, it was quiet. Persistent. Almost stubborn. I tried to tell myself it was just anxiety. But deep down, I already knew. In the 4th month, I bought the test. The pharmacy was right next to the office. I walked in with a blank face, shame written all over me. I picked the cheapest one. Couldn't even look the cashier in the eye. I went straight to the office bathroom. Cold. Sterile. Echoey. I opened the box with shaking hands. Read the instructions 3 times. As if that could change the outcome. I waited. Leaning against the wall. Heart pounding in my throat. And when I looked down, 2 lines. Clear. Obvious. No room for doubt. Positive. I sat on the floor. Still holding the test. The room spinning. My stomach turning. I felt small. Like the whole universe was closing in on me. And all I could think about was his name. Renato. Every syllable felt heavier than my whole body. My boss. My secret. My mistake. And now, the father of my child. There I was. Alone. Sitting on the cold bathroom floor. With a plastic stick in my hand. And my life completely flipped upside down. I told him in the car. It was raining. That kind of soft, stubborn rain. The kind that sticks to your clothes and your face. Like it wants you to remember every second. He was already inside. Engine running. Radio low. I got in. Sat in silence for a few seconds. The test was in my bag. My heart in my throat. When I finally spoke, my voice barely came out. I'm pregnant. He closed his eyes for a second. Then placed his hands on the steering wheel. And let out a heavy sigh. Like the world had just ended. Like this was his problem. And only his. Then he turned to me and said. His voice firm, dry. We'll take care of it. Our way. Just trust me. In that moment, I wanted to believe him. I wanted to believe he was the same man. Who once said he saw me. Who once said he cared. So I trusted him. What a mistake. I didn't know that in that exact moment. I was handing over control of my life. To someone who never planned on sharing it with me. Only hiding me. A few days later, Renato texted me. Short, direct. No commas. No small talk. It said, "Have you thought about ending the pregnancy? Maybe it would be better for everyone." I read that line over and over, like I wasn't understanding it. It took me a while to process. I took a deep breath and replied, "Are you insane?" "Of course not." His response didn't come for hours. And when it did, it was cold. "Okay, just putting it out there." After that, he started to disappear. Took days to reply. Walked past me in the hallways. Switched floors. Every day, I could feel him pulling away, erasing me, like he was cleaning up his tracks. And I won't lie, it was eating me alive. I tried to stay strong, tried to act like I was fine, but inside, I was falling apart. Then, one Tuesday, I got an email from HR. Subject, urgent meeting, room 3 p.m. My stomach dropped. I'd never been called into HR before. My mind raced through 1,000 possibilities. Anything but the worst. But when I walked in, he was there. Renato. Standing next to the HR manager. Arms crossed. Cold stare. He didn't even pretend. He just said, in the coldest voice possible, "The company is going through a restructuring, and unfortunately, we'll have to let you go." It felt like a slap. I couldn't react. The only thing echoing in my mind was, how could he do this to me? I'm pregnant. With his child. But I didn't say a word. I didn't cry. I didn't ask questions. I just picked up the pen, signed the papers without reading a single line, gathered my things, and walked out of that building like I was running from a fire. The days that followed, I didn't eat. I didn't sleep. I just kept replaying that scene in my head. Until one day, scrolling through LinkedIn, I saw something that shattered me all over again. The company had posted a job opening. My job. Same position. Same role. They just changed the title to make it look different. I didn't know whether to laugh or scream. For a second, I thought about calling him, letting it all out, telling him everything I never said. But I took a deep breath and didn't call, because in that moment, for the first time in months, I finally knew what I had to do. Move on. For me. And for my baby. The months went by. My belly grew, and so did the fear. But the love grew even more. And then he arrived. My son. The most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life. Calm eyes, tiny hands, and a cry that felt like it was saying, "It's okay, Mom, we've got this." And we did. I found another job. Better pay. Chill environment. Normal people. Peace, finally. A new life. Until one day, a friend from my old job messaged me. "Girl, guess who pulled the same stunt again? Renato got another girl pregnant." Yep. Another one. But this time, it wasn't silence. She made a scene. Screamed in the hallway. Cried in HR. Sent emails in all caps. And the craziest part? His wife found out. And this time, she left. And then, as if that wasn't enough, a few days ago, I got a notification on Instagram. A message. From him. "Renato. Hey. Saw one of your photos. You look beautiful. How's our boy? I'd really love to meet him." Our boy. The same boy he never put his name on. The one he erased from his life for 2 whole years. The one he thought he could forget. Like a message you just delete from your phone. I laughed. Really laughed. The kind of laugh you let out when an old joke stops being funny. And of course, I didn't answer. Today, I live for him. For my son. To give him the best. To teach him the best. To raise a good man. Nothing like his father. And if I could choose, I'd choose for him to never have contact with someone who only showed up when it was already too late. But then, I catch myself wondering, am I wrong? Is protecting the same as pushing away? Or maybe pushing away is the deepest form of protection. What would you do if you were me?